Hey everybody, welcome to UNCHENSORED here on the Chen Dynasty, which is of course your home at twitch.tv/jchensor. My name is James Chen. I don't have my Chen Dynasty logos here on the stream, I noticed in this station. You know what, I need to take care of that. I will do that in preparation for the next episode, or maybe during a break. I'll just try to throw one up there real quick or something like that. But welcome to UNCHENSORED, the stream where I talk about any topic that I want in any sort of unfiltered format I want. Usually it's about fighting games. Sometimes I'll go off on tangents about things that are not fighting games. But here we go. We are going to do this. Actually, let me do one more setup here so that I can read the chat just a little bit easier, so I can interact with you viewers at home in a simpler fashion. So here we go. Today is UNCHENSORED. This is the first UNCHENSORED of 2018. It's been like 5 months already, so it's pretty crazy that it's taken me this long to do one. Really, honestly, bad on my part, but you know what? Hopefully that's going to change. I have a couple of topics ready to go, so I have another topic probably after after this week. I'll have another topic coming up. But today's topic, what I want to talk about right here, this started from a conversations that I've been having on Twitter with some people. And then there was a tweet from Brian F. in which he was playing online Dragon Ball. And he said that, you know, people rage quit on him and he couldn't find any connections and all these things like that. And it all comes down to something that I've believed in for quite some time now, and that is this idea that fighting games online, it's just not fun, man. It's just not fun. And this is the biggest problem right now with fighting games. This is the thing that makes fighting games so hard to learn for different people. It's a chore. It's a chore to play online. And online is frustrating. It's full of rage quitting. All it is about your ranking points and your rank. And so everyone's just trying to rank. There's this emphasis on winning. There's this emphasis on winning. And if you're a brand new player, you're going to come in here. You're going to play a fighting game. And I've said this a billion times, and I know everybody's actually heard this before, is that when you come online and you play a fighting game, and you're like, oh boy, I've been watching all these streams. This is really, really cool. Let me buy Street Fighter V. I'm going to go online and play, and I'm going to have fun. I'm going to buy this joystick. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to invest all this money to play fighting games at home. You go and you play online, and you lose your first 100 matches. And you're like, God, fuck, this is not fun at all. Like, I can't get good. This sucks. Like, I can't win at all. And fighting games don't have good tutorials. They don't have good ways to teach people how to play the game, etc., etc. And you're just not having fun. And then finally, you're playing this game and you're like lost 127 games in a row, and you get your 128th game and you're like, all right, I'm about to beat this guy. I'm finally about to beat someone. They rage quit on you. And then you're just like, fuck, man, this is... I finally had a chance to gain some points, and then they rage quit on me, and then that's it. And it is tough. It is very, very tough. And what I have always said is that what they need to do is make the online much more robust. The online needs to be more fun. And Born Cop, in the chat says that Arc System games have good tutorials. And it is my personal belief, Born Cop, and this is probably a different topic altogether, is that all tutorials in fighting games are not great. There are definitely some that are better than others. Under Night and Birth, very, very good tutorial system. But by default, by nature of the tutorial system, tutorials are not good. And the reason why is because they are teaching people. They inundate people with too much information before they go online. They forget all the information. Nobody ever goes back to do a tutorial again after they've already played a bunch of games online. Tutorial systems in general can be good, but they're always better for players who already know fighting games to a degree. Tutorials are always best for people who already have slight fighting game knowledge. The best teacher, and this is a great transition to my topic here, the best teachers, the best way to learn any video game, to learn anything. It doesn't even have to be a fighting game. The best things to learn about the best way to learn any video game is, guess what? Is to have fun. Video games have to be fun for you to learn. And here's the thing about learning fighting games is that you don't have to learn, like everybody are always talking about like, oh, fighting games, you gotta learn here, we learn through the trenches, and blah, blah, blah. Like, if you can't handle it, then fuck you, get out of our community, you suck, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, if you didn't have the ability to last through online, then you shouldn't be in our community anyway, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, this is not true. It's such a terrible attitude to have. Honestly, you gotta have fun when you're playing fighting games online. And so I'm gonna talk about my idea. I've been wrapping my head about this forever, ever. Like, I've been thinking about this. How do we make it so that people can have fun online? And some of the conversations that I've gone down past, make proper rage quit punishing systems, and that has almost never worked. Try to reward people with more points or something like that. And like all these ideas have come out and it's and it hasn't worked. Now, what I'm not going to talk about in today's episode is stuff like netcode, right? This is just an obvious. This is like I don't even need to mention netcode. If your netcode sucks, you're doing something wrong already, okay? If your netcode is not good, if you're a Japan dev, please make sure that you test it in an American infrastructure because our internet fucking sucks, okay? So just make sure you test it here. And if you're using delay netcode, stop it. Please use rollback netcode, and please do it right. Talk to Tony Cannon. Talk to somebody who Tony Cannon, of course, is the guy who developed GGPO. Also one of the co-founders of Evo, etc., and Shoryuken.com. Just talk to him, or hire Mike Z, who's done a lot of work with GGPO and knows exactly what to do with GGPO. Just get somebody who's used rollback netcode before. Talk to the KI developers or something. Talk to the guys at NRS. Just use rollback netcode, please. But that's not, even if that's fixed, even if we fix all the online stuff, online is still not going to be fun. Because you're going to go online, you're going to play ranked, you're going to lose a bunch, you're not going to sure why, and the whole thing just is going to suck. So, let's get to this. I've already hinted at this, that I have an idea for how to fix fighting games online, how to make it fun again, how to make it so that players are learning while they play. And the answer has been right in front of our face this entire time. It's been there. There's a game that does it already. But the problem is, you guys are going to really, really hate this answer. Because as soon as I say this, a lot of you are going to be like, you've fucking lost your mind, James. I'm out of here. See you later. Here's my idea. Fighting games need more casual modes. We already have a game that does this. Except they went the opposite direction. Their game was made for fun for a long time, and recently they added for glory. Fighting games like Street Fighter need to now do the opposite. We have for glory. That is ranked mode. Now we need for fun. And yes, this potentially means items. This potentially means background interactions that can kill you. This means all sorts of things. We need casual modes. We 100% need casual modes online. Let's think about this for a second. Let us have a casual mode in Street Fighter. But think about this. There's items in here. Okay, we're gonna fucking have items spawn on the match. Like, think of Samurai Showdown 2 style, where guys are running along and throwing food and bombs and shit like that. Let's actually do that. Let's have the Guile stage in the background where the airplane shoots a machine gun and actually shoots the person in the left corner. Or like they end up blocking and they end up dying over there, right? But now a lot of people are going to be mad for suggesting items and stuff like that. And somebody in chat even said, why not play Smash if you want a casual party game? The reason why is because you need to allow casual players to win sometimes. Because that's going to make them have fun. As much as people hate items, when we all played Smash Melee back on the GameCube, when Melee was the biggest thing ever, we all played free-for-all on timer, and we fucking had fun when we grabbed the hammer and we killed 3 people. And we were like, shit, this is like, you laughed about it. You accepted that it happened, but you laughed about it, right? So here's the thing, and this is the tricky part here. This is the tricky part. We can do this in a way that is going to be so smart. We can do this to be super interesting. Let's talk about this, okay? Here's one mode. This is casual mode, okay? This is casual mode of Street Fighter where there are items. I don't know how to handle the system. I had thought about if you lose a certain amount of health, a roulette spins and you get a random power-up. I've been thinking about having a smash ball that goes around the screen that you hit it enough and an item pops out and you get a power-up, etc., etc. But let's think about this for a second. Let's think about what kind of power-ups we can add to this game and how these power-ups are going to teach us how to play fighting games. And this is actually going to be the key factor right here, right? So let's say one of the items you get is a one-time fireball use. And look, you can animate all the characters to do everything. You can make Birdie throw a Hadouken. You can make Cammy throw a Hadouken. There was a game on the PlayStation 1 called Critical Blow in which you gained cards that gave characters other people's special moves. This was on the PlayStation 1, folks, okay? It's animating a model. You can make Cammy do a Hadouken motion. You can make Laura do a Hadouken motion. Let's say that there's an item that you can pick up that gives you a one-time fireball. And this one-time fireball does 25% damage, okay? Let's say this fireball does 25% damage, but you can't cancel into it. That's just the rule of this item. All you can do is just throw the fireball at one point in time. Well, what's going to happen now is that if you're fighting against this person and they have this fireball that's going to do 25% damage, suddenly the scope of your strategy changes. Suddenly the scope of your strategy changes, and guess what? You are playing a hardcore projectile game. You are playing a hardcore projectile game because you're so worried about their projectile, you are going to play with the idea of trying to avoid the fireball. And the other person is going to play with the whole entire mind to throw the fireball and hit them in a smart whiff punish or in a smart footsie situation. Now all of a sudden your entire gameplay changes and you're both playing a projectile game. You're playing a smart projectile game all of a sudden, right? Let's say a power-up makes it now so that all of your jump attacks are unblockable for like 5 seconds. Yeah, you heard me. Make it so all your jump attacks are unblockable for 5 seconds. Suddenly, you are now going to play an anti-air game because you know that's all they're going to do. They're going to try to jump at you all the time. And when it happens and you block a jump attack and you get killed because it's unblockable, you're going to get mad, and a casual does that to a better player, they have a better chance of winning. But at the same time, now it teaches you to be aware of jump attacks. And it teaches you, as the person with the unblockable jump attacks, that maybe because they're all waiting for jump attacks, that you can start walking on the ground, right? What if we had a power-up that makes it when you walk forward, you gain health? If you dash forward, you gain health. Right? So now you have this thing that teaches you how to play footsies by walking forward. You're going to learn how to walk forward in fighting games a lot more, right? So Asher Ratcliffe in the chat brings up Fighting EX Later and their Goki system. Yes, it's very similar to this, to the craziness that comes around. Yeah, maybe one of the power-ups lets you do chain combos, right? Maybe this power-up you get actually just makes it so you don't take any damage. You're literally invincible. You don't take any damage. So now all of a sudden you can go crazy with pressure and not have the consequences, and the opponent really has to understand how to fight this kind of pressure. The tricky thing about all this is what the consequence that I'm talking about here. You're going to learn how to anti-air. You're going to learn how to not jump and walk forward and take advantage of that. You're going to learn how to fight projectile games. None of that is stated. None of that is told you. None of that is put out there on the screen like, learn how to do this. It's just you're going to learn. You are going to learn this kind of thing. Right? If the opponent has unblockable jump attacks and you get killed by this, and it lasts for only 5-10 seconds, you might get mad, but you might get it too, and then all of a sudden it's great for you, but then you play against someone and they anti-air you all day, and you're like, why isn't this effective for me? But the thing about it is you're playing it online and you're having fun. Right? Like, what about that fireball, like I said, that does 25% damage? If you land that shit on somebody, you're just going to be like, yeah, you're just going to laugh, and you're going to be having a great time. But more importantly, how many of you have played Smash Brothers before using someone like Dr. Mario or Mario, and Samus charges up her gunshot, and then she fires it at you, and you throw out the cape, and you reflect the fireball, and it hits Samus, and she dies, and you're just like, yeah! That's like the greatest fucking feeling in the world, right? Reflecting that fireball and killing Samus with her own fireball is the greatest thing in the world. So now all of a sudden you give somebody a 25% fireball, they shoot it at you and you're Manat and you reflect it and it hits them and they die, and you are going to have fun. You are going to have a fun situation where you're playing fighting games in kind of a silly environment, but you're going to be learning a bunch of stuff all at the same time. Yeah, exactly. Sleeping KO as Jigglypuff is one of the greatest things in the world. Let's talk about another one, right? Let's talk about what if you gave everybody an uppercut, right? You gave everybody a true invincible uppercut. Now, the way I would, of course, design this game is that whenever you got a power-up, you would just have an item button, a power-up button, that if you hit the button, you would automatically just do whatever that thing has, right? And yes, Zoidberg, absolutely, random is fun. And that's why I said a lot of people are going to get mad at this, because people are like, what are you doing to my Street Fighter? But I'll get to that in a little bit. I'm just talking about the ideas that you could do. So let's say you gain an uppercut, right? It is just like Jigglypuff Sleep. Like, what if I get an invincible uppercut, or an uppercut that cannot be blocked or something like that? You have this uppercut all of a sudden, and so all of a sudden, Rashid has an uppercut, right? I picked up a power-up that gave me an uppercut. Now what happens is, even though some characters have uppercuts naturally, when you sit there and you gain this item and it says on the top of your opponent's screen that says uppercut, like item : uppercut, you now know that they have an uppercut. So what you're going to do is try to bait the uppercut so you can blow it up. And the thing about it is, whenever you bait something that you enjoy baiting, you know the best punish for it. So I'm glad someone brought along the idea of Jigglypuff's sleep, because when Jigglypuff misses her sleep, you jump down there and you already know what you are going to do to kill Jigglypuff. I don't even have to ask, right? You already know what your best move to kill Jigglypuff is, a sleeping Jigglypuff is. So if you are fighting against a person with an uppercut that whiffs, like let's say the item uppercut only lets you do a fierce uppercut, right? And you miss the fierce uppercut, you're going to walk up and you're going to be like, I am so ready to blow this up. You have your combo already in place to blow them up. And the thing about this is now when you play a real match, when you see whiffed uppercuts, your brain is already going to be geared towards, oh, that's right. When I baited the uppercut, this is what I do. Right? So you're going to have this casual mode with stage backgrounds, with all these crazy items popping around here. And again, this will require testing and everything. We'll have to figure it out on how it works. But you've created a version of the game now that casuals can play, that they can have fun, that people who are not as good can win. And yeah, that's kind of weird because a lot of the hardcore players are like, why would I ever play this? Why wouldn't I ever just go play the real game? Like I said, I'll get into that a little bit. I just want to keep going through modes first, okay? But let's say you have that mode, right? You have this cool mode here for casual players. Here's a second mode idea for you, okay? Anybody here played Fatal Fury 3? Nobody here has played Fatal Fury 3. Let's face it, James. Nobody in this chat has played Fatal Fury 3. If you've played Fatal Fury 3, if you guys remember, there is ring outs in Fatal Fury 3. There's actually ring outs in Fatal Fury 3. The walls can be broken. If you get hit and blocked and kicked into the wall starts to break, and then you can fall out of the ring. You can fall out of the ring and you can win by ring out. What if there was a mode, a fun casual mode, that was only about ring out? That's it. That's it. You have no health bar. You have no life bar at all whatsoever. No life bar. The whole goal is to ring the opponent out. And so when they hit the wall, it takes like 3 hits, although a throw will do 2 points of damage, a knockdown will do 2 points of damage, blocking against the wall does 1 point of damage, and let's say the wall has like 6 points of damage or something like that, right? So you have a version of the game with no health bars, but it's just all about pushing the guy into the corner, right? Now all of a sudden you're playing this game where you start to understand screen positioning. You start understanding space control. Not only that, but if you get pushed into your corner, you're going to learn how to escape out of the corner. This is going to teach people the problem of when they get stuck in the corner and they don't know how to get out. The panic of being in the corner might cause people to jump out, and the idea now is going to get in their head that the way to escape the corner might be just to get the hell out of the corner or figure out a way to throw you into the corner. So now all of a sudden, even though I blocked and did a bunch of chip damage to this wall, I throw you back into the corner and I win. Look at that. Like 10 points of hit points on the wall. Bam, bam, bam. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I throw you backwards. I win. It adds a completely different style of game, and it teaches you something completely different. It teaches you the idea of screen positioning, but you have no idea that you're even learning screen positioning. You're just playing this game with this goal of these walls, and everything else is the same, but now your whole goal is to push someone back and try to gain that space. And so now you're going to understand a different thing. And yeah, that's going to hurt zoning characters. Zoning characters aren't going to be able to keep you out as much. Like Manat might actually be weaker in that mode. But who the fuck cares? These are casual modes. They're not meant to be balanced. They're just meant to be fun. Like, I think it's a really neat way to teach people different kinds of fundamentals in the game. Here's another game mode idea. What if we had a mode where there is no life bars and it's just a timer? Let's actually put in time mode for Street Fighter. You don't actually see your life bars, but you guys just play one giant round for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes is done, it just shows you who did more total damage in the end, and that person wins. But the whole thing about that is it removes the pressure of losing rounds. It removes the pressure of feeling like you're just getting kind of bullied. You know what I mean? And what this mode would actually have is you would actually have an extra burst mechanic that would build up as you get beaten up. Like as you take damage, you just get a burst meter built up, and as soon as it builds up, if you activate it, you push the opponent a full screen away on a knockdown, and then they get up, and then you kind of get back into it and you keep playing. But the thing about it is, what it does is it removes that little extra pressure of losing rounds and getting killed that way. Omega Street Fighter was kind of a casual mode, but it wasn't that popular. And again, we'll get into that in a little bit. But, you know, it goes on and on. There's so many great ideas that you could come up with. You could come up with all these different ideas, and what happens is when people play these games in these different modes, it just makes it so that you're having fun again. You're having a great time. You have the ability to laugh. You have the ability to totally eke out a win that you didn't deserve, you know, by getting the hammer and killing the opponent almost instantaneously. Like, even though things like the baseball bat, like let's just put in the baseball bat, right? A one-time swing use move that if you hit the opponent, you instantly KO them. That has really slow startup like that. Then if you knock them dizzy and then you have the hammer, you're just like, ha, and it's fun. Right? It's fun. If you happen to hit someone because they hit a button and they die, it's fun. It's like freaking Android 16 suicide mode, right? When that shit actually happens in a match, everyone goes fucking nuts because it's funny and it's hilarious. And I think that that's kind of a really kind of neat idea to kind of do. I think having these kind of casual modes will be helpful. Now, here's the main question, though, is that why would anybody play these casual modes, right? Like, what is the point of this? Well, hopefully, one of the reasons why is because when you go online, you'll play casual modes because you just want to have fun, right? This is just a goal of yourself to want to have fun. But here's the thing, right? This all kind of ties into a reward system that you have to have with the game. So, you know, Guilty Gear has kind of done this with the fishing. Dragon Ball's done this with buying capsules. Tekken does this with getting clothes and customization items. These are all things that you gotta have to do. Street Fighter does this with fight money, that you can buy stages and all these things like that. The fault of fight money, of course, is that there's an equivalency to actual money, and they want you to spend the actual money on the game. So if Street Fighter, for example, using Street Fighter as the example here, could develop two systems of money, of fight money, and just, you know, hey, you gain this money to buy customization items, you know, that would probably be a good idea. But to have this kind of system where you, as you play, you keep earning things. Now, this is, again, I racked my brain about this for probably longer than I should have. But this was my idea. So when you're playing ranked, obviously, if you're a good player, if you're a serious player, so wait, NB Silent Shadow says, Soul Calibur 3 had a special game where you play a short round, but with a bomb. Whoever blocks or gets hit last holds the bomb. If you are carrying the bomb at the end of the timer, you explode and lose the round. It teaches some real footsies, runaway, and chasing. Beautiful! I love it! I love it! Bomb mode! Bomb mode! Let's do it! Let's do it! But look, here's some people who are going to want to play the game seriously, and they only want to play ranked mode. Well, guess what? Ranked mode is the only mode where you can get fight money, and I like the idea from Sigma in chat. Bison bucks. Bison bucks, right? So let's actually have bison bucks and fight money. Fight money is to buy characters and stages and costumes because there's a real world analogous money option to that. Bison bucks will be to buy all sorts of cool collectible cards, to buy the ability to get different background music from the classic Street Fighter 2 games, to buy different fireball sprites, like you could make Ryu throw a beach ball, you could make Ryu throw a 2D sprite Hadouken, classic Hadouken. You could make it so that your name has all the cool panels and all the different designs, and you can put stickers on them. Just like in Tekken, how you can customize your panel, like in Guilty Gear. So you have the ability to earn these things. But guess what? Ranked is going to be the only place where you can earn it at a decent rate. Let's actually give ranked mode a rate of 10. All right? Let's say you earn it at the speed of 10. 10 is standard. 10 is whatever is happening right now, right? So you're earning this at the rate of 10. As you play the side modes, if you play the casual games, what you are rewarded with if you win is 2 items, and if you lose, you get 1 item, right? So you always get an item, even whether you lose or win. You get 2 or 1. And what those items do are they add multipliers. So each item you get from the casual games basically increases your multiplier by 0.1 up to 3, up to 2, up to 3, up to 5. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. And as you play those games, you win an item, you build them up, you win a multiplier up to, let's say, 2.5. You go to ranked match, you cash in that multiplier, and now the fight money and the bison bucks that you earn are earned at 2.5 for a certain amount of time. Like, let's say you cash in an item and it lasts for 2 hours or 24 hours. I don't know. Again, we'll figure it out when through experimental stuff, right? So you gain these multipliers playing these other games so that when you go and play ranked mode, you will actually earn things a little bit quicker. This gives people who play those side modes a little bit of incentive to go play the ranked matches, right? Because now you're like, well, I've built up to maxed out at 3 multiplier. Why don't I go do something with this? Let me go play ranked right now for a couple of hours, because that's how long this lasts. And whether I win or lose, I'm gaining extra fight money and I'm gaining extra bison bucks, right? So Wake Up Super Nintendo says, For Honor uses in-game currency to incentivize players to play more goofy modes by giving big rewards like daily orders, etc. Yes, exactly. So NB Silent Shadow, you can do that. You can do that but see, that's the thing is, you don't have to make the multiplier rewarded for landing X anti-airs or punishing a whiff, because if you're playing those side modes, you're accidentally learning all of those skills without anybody telling you to do that. And that's the most important part. That's how people are going to learn. That's how people are going to learn fighting games, is when it just happens naturally. If you're telling people to you must anti-air 5 times, then they're just going to be sitting there looking to anti-air 5 times. But if you play the game so that they have an unblockable jump attack and you have to anti-air them, then that's what you're going to pay attention to, and you're automatically going to learn how to anti-air them. So you're just going to gain the points naturally. So you get these multipliers to play in ranked mode, okay? Back to what I'm trying to say here. And you get them for not time. That's right. I'm wrong. It's not time. It's not time-based. It's numbers of game-based. This is what I had determined. So when you cash in an item, it lasts for 5 games. The amount of points and bison bucks and fight money that you gain is multiplied for 5 games total. Only if you complete the game. Only if you complete the game. A lot of times when people rage quit, it's not necessarily that they're good players and they want to preserve the record or whatever like that. A lot of times it's just salty people who aren't good and they just don't like losing, because losing is not fun. But here's the thing. If I go in and play these modes and I get a 3 times multiplier and I go play ranked mode to cash in my multipliers to actually gain extra fight money and stuff, I'm not going to rage quit, because every time I rage quit, I have wasted one of those games. Because if you don't complete a match, you get 0 fight money, you get 0 bison bucks, and you've just wasted your buildup. So now basically what you're going to do is you're going to sit there and play all day till you can go to ranked matches and play those. And even if you're going to lose, you're going to lose because you still gain more thanks to the multiplier. Once that runs out, you'll run back to the casuals and play the casual stuff, and you learn a bunch of other things while you play those, and you'll mess around with the different modes. Maybe each day of the week, a different side mode. Let's say on Monday, bomb mode rewards more multipliers. On Tuesday, wall mode rewards more multipliers, etc., etc., etc. So that way, on Monday, everyone ends up playing one version. On Tuesday, everyone plays another version. And that encourages people to actually end up playing those modes of the game. And so you will find competition that way. Because the problem with having too many mini modes is that if you go online and you're like, I really like bomb mode, and you're like one of 10 people who actually just end up enjoying bomb mode, you're not going to find any competition. But if you force people in a way that rewards them, like Tuesday is bomb mode day, and so you get extra, then everyone's going to go play bomb mode on Tuesday, and everybody will learn a different thing like that, right? And maybe there are modes where every round your character changes to a new character or something like that. Basically, there's just a lot of things that you could do. Now, the reason why this is important, the reason why I came up this whole system with the multiplier is because I also want to make sure the pro players are still having a good time. If you think about it, spending all that time playing the casual games a bunch of time with items and randomness and bomb mode and ring out mode and time mode and all this shit like that, there's a lot of players that are going to be like, fuck this. What the hell happened to my fucking fighting games? I just want to play ranked mode all day, because ranked mode is still always going to be the main mode, because it's the only place that you get fight money and money to buy all these cool little trinkets, right? Like the fishing and like the capsules from Guilty Gear and and Dragon Ball. It's the only place that you can get those things. But if you're a pro player and all you want to do is play ranked online, one of the nice things about that then is that by playing ranked online constantly, you will probably earn as much fight money and bison bucks as you would playing the casual stuff, getting a multiplier, and then coming into ranked mode. In other words, the 0.1 increase, the 0.2 increase, the 0.3 increase you get out of those power-up items is so minute. It's good for the casual players because they can build it up, but it's so minute that if you are a hardcore player and you are only playing hardcore modes and that's it, what's going to happen is that you're going to gain just as much fight money and bison bucks as anybody else because you're only playing ranked mode. You don't need the multipliers. You're going to gain it at a probably faster rate by just continuing playing ranked mode. So that way, we're not punishing you either for avoiding those side games. If that's not your thing, if this is none of your business, if you don't give a flying fuck about all these stupid casual modes, you're not losing anything. It's not like you're going to gain more by playing the casuals, getting the multiplier, and then playing ranked to get 5 times fight money and stuff. No, if you just spend that time that you are playing casual, playing nothing but ranked, you'll probably gain just as much fight money and bison bucks. And if you don't, then we need to patch the game and make sure that you do. We'll do the math, we'll calculate it, etc., etc. But that's kind of the whole idea of this. This allows the pro players... Okay, some people played Fatal Fury. I'm sorry, Ashrat Cliff. Look, I already just revealed how old I was on social media a while ago, and everyone was surprised, okay? But yeah, you could do team tournaments, you could do all sorts of cool little side things like that. But you gotta give them the reason to play those kind of things. And in my opinion, really honestly, the goal of this is to bring the fun back into fighting games. Yeah, it's going to be weird if you play a fighting game and you go against each other. But think about this too. Like, let's say you invite a friend over. You're the fighting game player and you're good, and your friend is not good at fighting games. Your friend is not good at fighting games. Now, even offline, locally, with your friends, you can play these fun modes. Your friend can legit beat you without having to go easy on them or play your tertiary or your quaternary character just to have fun against your friend. You know what I mean? If he gets the baseball bat and hits you and KOs you in one hit on one round, you can both laugh about it and have a good time. If you're me, you'll probably get salty anyway, just because that's how you are. But it would be a fun way to play with your friends as well. That's not just, changing the what is that stupid meter that they always have in the versus mode, the little bar that makes it so one character does more damage than the other, etc. You can just have a fun way to have fun. And Moriella is actually right. Most games don't even have the player base to support multiplayer modes. And it's true, but at the same time, I think if you do the multiplayer modes like that well enough and with enough incentive, people will actually end up playing it more often. Street Fighter does have a decent player base. Handicap, that's what it is. Handicap, thank you. Tertiary. Gucci Clone, tertiary. Tertiary. Like not secondary, it's your tertiary character. Dude, Streets of Rage mode in Street Fighter V. Dude, I've talked about this before. I would have a break the targets in Street Fighter. I already talked about this and how I would do that as a tutorial system. I would have that. But, back to having your friends come over and playing one-player mode, it would just be fun to play that way. Now, the very first Uncensored episode I ever did, one of the topics that I talked about was how much I fucking hate blue shells. And isn't what I'm talking about blue shells, right? Isn't that just what it is, blue shell? Like, James, you're trying to add blue shells into the game, and yet you had a whole rant on why blue shells are the worst thing in the whole entire history of the world, right? Yes, this is not contradictory. This is not contradictory as much as it sounds like it could be. The reason why it's not contradictory is because I wouldn't remove blue shells. I would change how they work. The reason why blue shells are so fucking stupid is because you get them in 8th place and they don't help the person in 8th place at all. They don't do anything to help the person in 8th place. It doesn't make any sense. How is it a comeback tool if it doesn't benefit you in any way, shape, or form at all? That's why blue shells are stupid. If blue shells actually help the person in 8th place or the person in 12th place, then yes, fucking blue shells would actually have a point. But they don't help you, okay? So fuck blue shells. Anyways, back to Street Fighter. Woo! No wonder I talked about blue shells in my first Uncensored. Ah, man. Anyways. But yeah, I just think that this would be a really fun way to play Street Fighter. It is tough that when we don't have enough people playing online, but the hope is to do that. Now, I saw someone talking about something. I was thinking RPG loot, something like Injustice 2 gears, but with hidden conditions. Yes, that's definitely something suggested by NB Silent Shadow. Nutacon that says, what about those people that don't play ranked at all? I have a friend that doesn't play competitive at all. He just likes playing arcade mode or treasure battle. Would he only be able to get Bison Bucks and not fight money in this system? I mean, the way that I have it is that he wouldn't get Bison Bucks or fight money because it mostly comes in ranked mode. What you could probably also do is when you play those casual modes, maybe you get those items. And what happens is that you can use those items directly as gachapon. So then you could actually use them like coins that you collect in in Smash Brothers, that you go to a slot machine and you spend those items that you get. So let's say you can build up 30 for 3 times the fight money and the Bison Bucks, or you can take those 30 and use them as coins in a slot machine, which has a really low chance of rewarding you with certain items, but sometimes they reward you with small Bison Bucks, small amounts of fight money, etc., etc. Nothing compared to the speed that you would gain through playing ranked mode. Again, this will take a lot of research and calculations, but that is something to do. Oh God, do not even talk. Mr. Friday just said you should see him talk about basketball. Don't get me started. Mr. Friday, don't do it. Don't do it, okay? I implore you, do not bring up basketball or else I will start going off on that, and I don't need to have that right now. In any case, there's just a lot of ways. So, I mean, the idea isn't just loot boxes, Mad B Man. If you just came into the chat, I had just talked about a shit ton of modes being able to play to help casuals and have fun. The whole goal of this idea here is just to bring back enjoyment into the fighting games, to make it so that you're actually having fun playing fighting games. If there are these casual modes, if you have the ability to win almost kind of undeservedly, like getting a star in Smash Brothers, or you play this wall mode that you just have fun playing this mode where you're trying to knock people out of the walls and everything like that. I think that's actually really cool. Looking at menus waiting to fight is a huge problem, Maximilian. That's definitely a problem, but that's less of what I'm talking about right now, Max. I'm talking mostly about did you just join in, Max? I really wish that you were here this whole time because I would love to hear your opinion on this topic. To sum up, netcode, that kind of stuff, waiting at lobbies, all need to be fixed. Blame Bandai Namco for that, by the way. Blame Bandai Namco for that because they have the patent on doing stuff during loading screens. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's a loading screen. So I think you might be able to do something during that. So you can training mode while you're waiting for matches. But that's a whole other story. But those are all things that need to be fixed. Netcode, all that stuff like that. People need to figure out how to fix that. The suggestions that I were making were for fun mode as opposed to for glory, with random items, background elements that can hurt you. And these random items just happen to teach you fundamentals in Street Fighter. A mode where your whole goal is to ring out the opponent through walls with hit points, that if you bash them against the wall, they break and you fall through. A time mode where you only play by timer and you build up a burst. And when the burst builds up as you're taking damage, you can knock the opponent a screen away and get back into it. But you play through time, so there's not as much pressure about rounds and you're not scared about losing your life meter. You're just playing and just fighting. And then after the time ends up, like 3 minutes passes, it just shows you who did more damage and that's the person who won. NB Silent Shadow mentioned a Soul Calibur mode where the last person to block or get touched by a move ends up with a bomb, and when a timer runs out, the person who has the bomb blows up and loses. And so these are all like small modes like that people can play, and it was so... Oh, okay, Bamco's patent ended on that. Sweet, okay. Yeah, exactly. Wake Up Super Nintendo mentioned Smash. You can beat up on a human-sized sandbag. I mean, that's the same thing with Tekken as well. You can beat up on a dummy while you wait for things. There's a lot of things like that, so that's definitely a different problem. Rose Ball would actually be kind of fun. Training mode, they do have that, Predacon. You can wait for matches in training mode. So all of these things, online training mode, right? Let's talk about modes again. Let's talk about modes. Online training mode was something that existed they added late in Street Fighter 4, and people loved online training mode, right? And that was an alternate way to play online as well, because it's kind of the same thing as my timer mode. You didn't have to worry about dying because you're just playing in a training mode. You can practice something with a friend. Like, why is there no online training mode, right? It's stupid. Make a goofy side-scroller mode like we were talking about. Make a break the targets mode that I've been talking about for years and years and years. Make a team battle mode where multiple people can play at the same time. You know, they swap between rounds or something like that. I don't know. There's just so many ideas for casual modes online that so many people, I think, would enjoy playing. And as I said, all that does is reward you items that you can then later on use in ranked to gain extra fight money, gain a higher rate of fight money and a higher rate of bison bucks, which you will use to buy things like custom nameplates, decorating, your life bar a little bit differently, making Ryu throw different Hadouken sprites, giving a different symbol to Kami's hat or something like that, stuff like that, like little things like that. Excuse me. Maybe you can even tie colors to that. Instead of putting colors in the god-awful survival mode, put colors just as stuff that you can buy through Bison Bucks, right? That just makes total sense. And so if you play those casual moves, it boosts the rank mode stuff. But if you play only the rank mode stuff, you're still going to gain everything at the same rate. This is basically the idea that I had. And the whole goal, the whole idea, again, sorry that I'm repeating, but I'm repeating for people who just joined. But the whole idea of it is to make it so that people are having fun again when they're playing online, playing fun. And yes, development budget. This is a very hard thing, Duo 11. This is very true. Fighting games have a small audience and a run on a really small budget, right? And this is definitely a problem. But there's a reason why Smash Brothers is so successful. Every single time. Every time Smash Brothers comes out, it's successful. It's because of the love and the care that they put into the game, right? If anything, we should be looking at Nintendo. We should be looking at Smash Brothers as the ultimate example. Changing colors of hit sparks effects. Can you imagine if you put in the 2D CPS1 hit sparks? Like, fuck, that'd be great. Like, let me buy the background music for CPS2 Ryu's background music. Let me buy Alpha 3's Ryu background music. Let me buy Alpha 2's background music for Ryu. right? Let me buy all these background music so I can listen to whatever the hell I want to, right? Like, nostalgia is the fucking killer, man. Nostalgia, dude, is like the ultimate weapon for everybody. Like that shit, like the fact that Tekken has that Tekken jukebox thing in Tekken 7 is like fucking amazing, right? Yeah, what if they made it so that there was like a cool 2D background version of all the old stages that just like is randomly 2D and just like, it's like looks like Parappa the fucking Rappa, right? Like that would be sick if you could play in that background. And the opponent on the other side doesn't have to play it. The backgrounds don't make any difference. So on your local machine, you could see your background. On their machine, they could see their background. Who the fuck cares? They hear their music, you hear your music. It doesn't even matter, right? Yeah, the Tekken 7 jukebox was weirdly incomplete, but you understand the idea. There's just nostalgia is a really, really powerful tool. And it's a way to bring back the fun, bring back the enjoyment to fighting games. And then with the careful creation of items, if you just don't make fucking completely random ass items, but if you make really smart items, like your next move is unblockable, right? Your next move cannot be blocked, okay? So your next move is unblockable. So basically what happens is you don't want to waste that button. This teaches you economy of buttons. This is one of my number one lessons of fighting games is economy of buttons. Stop fucking mashing buttons. The less buttons you hit, the better you're doing in fighting games. It's one of the hardest things to learn because every other video game on the planet teaches you to hit buttons. Shooters, you shoot. Racing games, you accelerate. Platformers, you jump. Fighting games, you don't hit buttons. Even though you have all these buttons to punch and kick, you don't hit buttons because that's actually the worst thing to do in fighting games. You have to be very careful. So let's make a mode where you get one unblockable move. So now all of a sudden you're learning economy of buttons. You want to make sure that shit lands. And so you play very carefully footsie games. And now your opponent learns how to avoid it. Because you have one unblockable move. Now they're scared. You could waste it on a fireball and they get hit by a full screen fireball and it's unblockable and that wastes your time. But if you can land a jump attack, that's even better. So now you're playing this really intricate footsie games. You're kind of forced to learn that kind of stuff. Different items can create different education in fighting games without being a tutorial, without explicitly telling you that you're learning, without rewarding you with things like, like do 3 reversal uppercuts, stuff like that. It's just would be really cool. It would be really fun to play that way. And yes, you're going to fraud out some victories, but that's the whole point. You have to and the thing is, if you're a good player and you go play these side modes and you get randomed out by somebody, you can't get mad because it was your choice to go play those casual modes in the first place, right? If you're a good player and you're going to get mad if somebody hammers you to death, in a casual mode like this, go play your fucking ranked matches. This is for fun. This is for people to have a good time. This allows people to actually win and enjoy themselves and to actually feel like something's happening. That's just the main thing. You just really... That's true. The opponent should always have the options of seeing custom effects on or off. Right? So if you're playing a ranked match, you can turn it on and have a good time watching Ryu throw a beach ball at you instead of a fireball, or have him, wear a different hat, like a kangaroo hat, right? Like, dude, like my whole Tekken, everybody that I customize in Tekken has a Dig Dug flag on their back. I have Team Dig Dug. Like, no matter what I do, they have a Dig Dug flag on back. No matter which character I do, I have created Team Dig Dug. Like, that's just cool. You can do stuff like that, right? That works on any costume. Just put a damn flag on their back. Yeah, there'll be clipping and it'll get blocked by certain costumes, but who the fuck cares? It doesn't matter. You know what you're getting into when you're putting customization items all this time, so... There you go. That's basically what I'm trying to do here. And yeah, I don't really have much else to expand on this. I think I've kind of said all I wanted to on this topic. And it's a short topic, but I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to have shorter, uncensored episodes so I can talk about one topic at a time. So next episode, I'm going to talk about a completely different topic for hopefully about an hour. I've said this for every Uncensored. I was like, please let me only have this last an hour, and then it lasts like 2.5 hours. So I'm kind of glad that this kind of time worked out right. But the one thing that I will do, though, is that I do always like to take the opportunity on Chenswords to actually have people. Okay. This is good. I like the discussion here. So Maximilian says lots of this comes down to budget. The last Capcom game with a budget was Cross Tekken. Yes, and it didn't work out very well. So yes, it's always going to come down to budget. But what a lot of developers have to realize is this kind of stuff added to the game does increase sales. It will make people play the game more. It will make people, and if, like I said, if they're earning fight money, maybe that tempts them to spend actual money on more things, make characters so that they can't be purchased by fight money or something. That might make some people mad, but, different ideas like that. As long as people are playing, you can get them to spend money on your game. That's more important thing. That's what a lot of developers have to understand. So a lot of times it's hard for Japanese developers to understand that it's worth it. Injustice has a ton of one-player stuff. They do it fantastically, right? Unfortunately, the one-player stuff doesn't really teach you the game as much. That's kind of my goal, is to have a fun way to have extra modes that teaches you how to play the game. But Injustice, NRS does it, and they sell tons of copies. They understand it. And so if Capcom doesn't do it, then fuck Capcom at that point in time, right? Sorry, Capcom. But if like NRS does it and they do a good job, then good. Then NRS is the one that's going to benefit off of it. You know what I mean? If Capcom Japan can't see the worth of doing stuff like that, of spending the budget on things like that, then there's just no hope at that point in time, and we need somebody else to step up, right? Woozy says, I feel like we need less modes, not more. We need to consolidate these smaller player bases, not fragment them. Crossplay and being able to queue for multiple modes at once is key. Queuing for multiple modes is a great idea, actually. Great idea. Plus being able to play while in queue. Crossplay is not a great idea necessarily, because crossplay, what a lot of people don't understand is that crossplay doesn't exist because Sony doesn't like to play nice, and they don't want anybody who hosts their games on their servers to allow crossplay. The reason why Street Fighter V has crossplay is because they have CFN. They've created CFN. If they didn't create CFN and they just used the Sony servers and just the standard servers out there, then they wouldn't have crossplay, right? Crossplay costs a lot of money, costs a lot of maintenance. Whereas if you use the existing servers like Microsoft has, like Sony has, they maintain the servers themselves. They back up the servers for you. It's part of the service, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very easy to implement crossplay. It's easy to implement crossplay between PC and Xbox games because Microsoft, of course, will play nice between the two. But Sony is the one that Sony doesn't view PC as a competitor. I mean, that could be true too. But it's also because Capcom has their own servers and Sony can't really do anything about it at that point, in my opinion. At least I don't think they can do anything about it at that point in time. Obviously, what was the main point here? Is that, crossplay was one thing. The other thing that was talked about was consolidating player base. Queuing up for multiple things is important for sure. That would help fix that. Like I said, having days that focus you on certain modes, like Monday is, bomb mode day. Tuesday is whatever day, blah, blah, blah. Friday is ranked mode day, right? Look, Friday has no bonus day, so more people would use that day to go spend their cash on Friday so that more people can find matches online on Friday. It does sound like a bad idea to splinter the player base a little bit, but the thing about it is, when you look at a game like Guilty Gear, what happens in Guilty Gear? You go online, you can't really find anybody. When you do find somebody, usually they're in the NorCal lobby and they're really fucking good, and you die and you're like, I don't want to come back and play this anymore. And you will never come back to play online. If you played online and you had these little fun modes and you played with someone on fun, you might go online a little bit more often. Games like Guilty Gear don't have a lot of people playing online because there's just no incentive to play online. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You go online, you can't find anyone. Anyone you find kicks your ass. The netcode's not very good. You leave, right? If The netcode is good. That's a given. Okay, let's not even talk about that, because if your netcode sucks, we have a whole nother episode of UNCHENSORED where I'm just going to be yelling, use GGPO! Use GGPO for 1 hour. That will be my netcode episode of UNCHENSORED. That would actually be really funny if I could pull that off. I should do a donation drive on that if I can just yell, use fucking GGPO netcode for an hour for an UNCHENSORED episode. Based on like a telethon or something like that. Anyways, if you can get people to enjoy playing online so that they stay online, then you won't have that problem anymore. Then it won't splinter the community. You know what I mean? Because the more people you have online, the better chance you have of that. And a lot of the people, because that's the thing, is I've talked about this a million times. When I played Smash Brothers, playing Break the Targets, playing the home run contest, playing the platforms, jump the platforms, those three things were so crucial to me learning the game. And I never, ever, 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 ever realized I was learning playing those. I learned how to short hop with Yoshi down A on the sandbag in the home run contest. I learned how to short hop down A because of home run contest. I learned short hop because of home run contest. I learned to do that consistently. I did it by accident a couple of times. I knew it was in the game, but I actually learned how to use it consistently because of home run contest. And no one ever told me I was learning. No one ever told me that I was learning anything. Even breaking the car in Street Fighter. Dude, that would be a mode. Bonus stages. Make a complex break the car or the barrel's bouncing and two players fight that. Like, I think that would be awesome as an online casual game, right? I think that would be super fun. I think that would be super cool to do. There's just so many. Oh, thank you for saying. Yes, I have a nice little collection of figures behind me. I'm very happy with those. I wish I had more. But, I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the whole idea of it. In any case, like I said, I didn't want to keep going for too long. I've basically gone an hour about this topic. It's kind of what I wanted to do. Before I go, I'm not ending the stream. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to run some ads. Woo! Esports pennies, baby. I'm going to run some ads. When I come back, I want to have some discussion on the topic. So if you have questions about that or questions about anything, I love doing Q&A, AMAs on stream with my stream views. So Kyrie about the 30th anniversary and Boats and Joe's about cool, fun things. Hold those questions. Ask them again when I come back. And just make sure to type in @jchensor if you want to ask me a question. So guys, I will be right back. I'm going to grab some water. And this is empty. So I need to grab some water, and then I'll be right back, and I'll answer some user questions. But that is the gist of my ideas. Add in a bunch of casual fun modes for players to play that benefit playing ranked mode, just to try to bring the fun back into playing online. Be right back, sirs. And while I'm going on break here, and before I run the ad, definitely follow Automatic on Twitter. You see him right there with his emote thumbs up. Please follow Automatic, one of the greatest teachers of our fighting game current generation. Also, lots of great tech. So follow him on Twitter. Make sure you follow him because he'll give you a lot of good help.